Hello folks, and welcome to this video. Here I'm going to think a bit back about the Russian Grand Prix and the decision that decided the race, where Lewis Hamilton pitted for intermediates, Lando Norris stayed out of slicks. Then Lando had an absolutely horrible lap trying to tiptoe around, which dropped him out of the win and out of the podium altogether. Thing is, 12 months ago would have been a solid weekend for McLaren, a solid haul, but given that they had a 1-2 in the last race and they were for a while looking set to repeat it this weekend, it's understandable that Lando and the team were quite disappointed by it. And the question then is, whose mistake was it? Because some say McLaren should have let Lando make the call, but others say Lando should have listened to the team. And the thing is, it's the best way to say a bit of both. But whilst I think that is the best thing to say as a conclusion, I don't think that it really touches on what's the core of this. It seems that within McLaren they wanted to do what Lando wanted to do. And I'm not going to try and say that I'm in the mind of anybody, whether it's his engineers or people like Seidel or Brown. But what I will say is that there's every chance that they thought that if they forced him to go in, he'd say no. And yeah, I think that's the case. I think there's every chance they thought that he'd reject whatever they were going to say anyways. But at the same time, it was worth the risk for them. They still ended up relatively outperforming Ferrari, extending their advantage, though they could have extended it more. They took a gamble and they led a substantial amount of the race. And there are so many positives they could take away from it, so many solaces they can still take away from it. And that's the thing. On the one hand, Lando probably should have listened to them at first. On the other hand, McLaren probably should have said, box now. And, well, Ricciardo was already on the Inters. And they should have had a look at what other drivers were doing. But it's a mistake they could all learn from, you know? In my Grand Prix review, I made reference to calendar 2007, where Lewis Hamilton made a mistake in a wet-dry race and got beached in the gravel trap with McLaren, and it ended his race and arguably cost him a world championship in his rookie season. I know it was just a race, not a championship, and didn't have proper championship ramifications, but you could argue the same thing for Lando here. You just hope they learn from it, both sides of it, because they are going to win a race together in the future. They could even fight for titles. Could even start next year. But it's about ironing out those mistakes, those last few mistakes. Which is quite a theme in F1 at the moment, isn't it? But on that note, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you around. Bye for now.